creating the tables, and fetching the data through SQL queries. But only thing we don't know is connectivity between database and middleware. We'll be working on step by step. Now this takes time because we have to do all the three. Client we have to create, middleware we have to create, database we have to create, connection between client to middleware, middleware to database, database to middleware. All these things we have to do it. We will do it step by step. Okay. First of all, I wanted to create a database and I wanted to fill it with some dummy data so I can get the data. I can get the data. Now what I will do, first of all, to create a database, what I have to do? I have to run the Apache servers first. So I am clicking on map and I am clicking on this Apache server. So it starts running. Whenever it starts running, Apache will start running. So MySQL also will be activated. So we can create databases and everything. Dropbox is different. Dropbox is something you store your files in cloud, like Google Drive. Now our Apache server is started running. It is not started yet. Now our Apache is started. Then I will go to MySQL by clicking on this tool. Because from client it comes to middleware. Middleware has to come to database. We don't have any database yet. Now I wanted to create it. So what I will do, I will create a new database. I will say any name I can give. Let's say batch 2211. I'm creating it. I'll say create. B capital. I've created it. Now I wanted to create table and I wanted to create columns and I wanted to enter all the data. Now what I will do, I will take the help of some third party websites where we can get huge amount of data. So I will go to a website called Mokaru, Mokaru. Now here I can tell what kind of columns I wanted. They will give us dummy data. Now I want ID. I want first name. I want last name. I want email. I want gender. And this IP address I don't need it. So ID. Why ID we need it? Every table must have one column for unique values. That's what ID is. Then first name, then last name, then email, then gender. Now, if you don't want underscore, you can change this to camel case. Here. First name, last name, email, gender. If you want, you can add another field also. Now I'm clicking on add another field. Then here I'll click on it. Now I wanted to add a few more. Phone number is there. Okay. Here we have something called city. It belongs to which city? I am giving it. So I'll change this to city. Then I wanted to add one more. Avatar. Avatar means the URL of the image. I am selecting this and say I am naming it as a profile pic. Okay. So I am clicking on add another. So city is there. I wanted to add country also. Country. I'm adding country. Let's say country. Then add another field. I will use. They have given so many columns. Which one we can add? Now I want department also. Which department? Department corporate. That person belongs to which department? Human resources department or accounting department or engineering department like that. And I wanted to add say, and I wanted to add one more, which is age. Age must be number, right? There. Gender. Gender is there. We have given already. We can take this gender, female, male. They have so many extra options. Let us see. So now basically we have created. We want this table basically ID, first name, last name, email, gender, city, profile pic, country, department, and age. Now, how many I want? 1,000 I want. All these details I want 1,000 dummy data. Then which format you want? I want it in SQL format, so I can import. And what is the table name? Let's say table name as users. And here include create table. If I click on this, so we are getting the data plus it can create the table also. Either you create the table and import the data, or creating and import the data. Now I have selected include create table. So if I import this in our database, it will create the table called users with 1,000 records. If you want the 4,000, you can give 5,000, you can give, but you have to pay. Hmm. You can give if you want it, but usually ID will be unique. You wanted to create, come back and you ask me a question again. Why BRN1, why BRN2? You have to write separate logic to add BRN in front of. Got a point? This is simple. You can do that. But you have to, this is called making simple things complicated. Coding should be making complicated things simple. You are doing reverse. There is nothing wrong, can be done. There is no extra advantage for that. Got a point? Now, I want records between 50 to 100 IDs. If I have IDs only number, I can get it. If it is BR, BRN50 to BRN100, that is difficult because BRN50 is not a number, that is a string. Again, I have to take that, split that. I have to do so much of logic. Can be done. Extra unnecessary thing. Got it? Okay, now I will say download data. Now, what actually happens? An SQL file is downloaded. Are you able to see it here? An SQL file is downloaded called users. Now, I will come to this database batch 2211. I will come to import. Here, choose file. Downloads. Because I wanted to get from database, some data should be there, right? How many insert into queries you will write? It will take a lot of time to write that generate that data. That's why I'm using third party pages, websites. Now we are importing that SQL file. It executes all the SQL queries. Now see here, import has been successfully finished. 1001 queries executed. They have created 1000 queries for data. One query for creating the table. Total 1001. Now, if I come here and see in our batch 2211 users table, we have 1000 entries. Are you able to see? We want this dummy data, so you can try. You can try. Now, dummy data is created, perfectly fine. Now, I wanted to connect it to this database. Now, this part is done. Creation of database is done. Creation of table is done. With the dummy data is done. We don't have any middleware yet. Now, I wanted to create a middleware. Now, what I will do, middleware is nothing but a NodeJS, nothing but a JavaScript file. So, what I will do, I will come here, NodeJS, I will say, I'll create a folder called 3 integration. I'm creating a folder called 3-tier integration. I'm just opening this. Now, what I wanted to do, I have this 3-tier integration. Now, I wanted to create a file called server.js. Server.js, I have created it. And I wanted to create this package.json. How do I create package.json? npm unit. You will ask all the questions. Enter. Package.json file is created. Now I'll say console log inside server.js. Now I wanted to run this. So I'll simply say npm start. It will look for package.json file. Package.json file is there. In package.json, it is saying main file is server.js. So it will start executing server.js. Start command server.js. Now Node.js is there. Now what I wanted to do, our database is ready. Our Node.js is also ready. Now I wanted to connect it. So to connect it, there is a package called MySQL. What? MySQL. If you install MySQL package, you can connect a database in NodeJS. It has some methods. So now what I will do, I will install that MySQL. npm install MySQL. So now the MySQL package is installing. Why we need MySQL package? MySQL package is useful to connect to MySQL database. If you are using Oracle database, there will be a separate package for that. If you are using a Postgres database, separate package for that. Now I am using MySQL database, so I have installed MySQL. Then how do I use it? How do I use it? Now I'll just go through the documentation of MySQL. I'll say npm.js MySQL. Now database part is ready. Database is ready. Table is ready. Some dummy data is ready. Now I have created NodeJS. NodeJS is ready. Now I wanted to connect both. That's why I have installed MySQL. Now they are telling us here how to connect it. We go through their documentation. First of all, we have to say npm install MySQL, which is already done. Then how do we connect it? Now, first what we have to do, we have to import it. Why we have to use import keyword? Why are we using require keyword? Common JS. So require MySQL, you import it. Once you import it using create connection method, you have to give the details. That means, for example, I wanted to open my email ID and some reply, one email. I am not in front of the system. I'll make a call to Prakash. So I'll say, Prakash, please open my email. Can he open? Why? He need details. Which email is that? If I say my email is Hotmail, he'll go to hotmail.com. If my email is yahoo.com. If my email is gmail.com. Then I have to tell him username. I have to tell him the password. Then I have to tell him probably OTP. Then he can log in. He can log in into my email. Exactly the same thing. Now I wanted to connect it to database from MySQL. I have to tell where is the database. Where is the database? I have to tell. What is the name of the database? I have to tell. To connect it, I have to tell the username. I have to tell the password. All those things I have to tell. Got a point. If I go to this this MAMP page, if I come here MySQL, see here. The host is localhost. Where is the database? Port, the port of this database. Username of the database, password of the database. These details we have to pass it to MySQL package. Then only it will connect. Otherwise it cannot. So now what I will do, I have installed the package. So I'll say let MySQL is equal to require MySQL. I have imported it. Now if I roll over on this MySQL, now I'll say I have imported it, then I'll say MySQL dot create connection. There is a method. Create connection, it is actually expecting an object. It's actually expecting an object. We just go through the documentation. You can get it clear. MySQL. Now host we have to give. User we have to give. Password we have to give. The name of the database you have to give. Port also you have to give. So I'll say host. What is the host as per our MAMP? Localhost. So I am giving host localhost. Then port 889. You just copy this. paste here and change it according to your requirement. Host localhost, user is root, password root. You see here, we have the details. User is root, password is root, port 888. In my system it is 888. In your system it may be different. So I'll say port 888 because this host, user, password all are strings, but the port is not string number. What is the database we have created? Batch 2211. B capital. The database is batch 2211. Okay. Now this connects to database actually, and it gives us the connection object. Now I'll say let the connection. Now using this I can connect it to database. Okay. Now we'll just follow the documentation. Okay. Now I'll say connection dot connect. It will start connecting it. First, what we have done, we have installed MySQL. Then we have imported MySQL. Then we have all the details to connect it to database. Then we are saying then connect it. Now I'll say connection dot connect. Now it will be connected. If everything is done, everything is available, it will be connected. So connection dot connect. Okay. The connection dot connect connects to the database. Connection dot end ends the connection to the database. Ends the connection to the database. Okay. Now, if I run the application, let's say npm star. If I run the application, nothing is working, nothing is coming, but it is actually connected. It is actually connected. But what I wanted to do, I wanted to display a message saying connection successful or failure. I wanted to display a message. Now, connect is a method, right? If I roll over on it, are able to see callback? Are able to see callback? We can give a callback function there. We can give a callback function. That callback function has a parameter error. Are able to see? So now what I will do here, I am creating a callback function. Even if you don't give also fine, but we'll be getting some clarity here. I'll say error. If there is any error, that error will be getting it. Now what I will do here, I'll say like this. If error is there, that means connection successful or failure. If error is there, failure. So I'll say unable connect to database. Else, no error is there. That means what? Connected to database. Understanding what I'm saying? Even if you don't write this callback function also, still it works. But if it is successful, okay. If it is not successful, you should know it is not connected. That's why I'm writing this callback function. That function accepts it. Array.map accepts a callback function, right? Exactly. Connection.connect also accepts a callback function with the parameters. With parameters, if there is any error, we say unable to connect it to database. Otherwise, we say connected to database. Now, let me try to run it. I'm stopping it. I'll say npm start. What is it saying? Connected to database. That means we didn't get any error object. Connected successfully. Let me test it whether it is really connected or not. Now, our database, to connect to our database, host is localhost, port is 888, username is root, password is root. Now, I'll purposefully change the password to something I'm changing it. It should be connected or it should not be connected. It should not be connected. Then it should show unable to connect to database. I'm just testing whether it is really connecting or not. The npm start. What is it saying? Unable to connect to database. That means if we are giving proper values, it is connecting it. If we are giving any wrong values, it is not connecting. Okay. Okay. Now I will do one more experiment. First of all, I will print this error object. What exactly it is? It is unable to connect it. What exactly are we getting it? I am printing this. Now let us see. We are unable to connect it, and it is giving that error object also. If you see here, the error object, code error access denied. SQL message access denied for use root localhost using password. Yes, some error messages we are getting. Understanding, we are not just writing connected successfully or not successfully by us. It is actually working properly. Understanding? Okay. Now what I wanted to do, I am connected to database successfully. Now I wanted to give proper credentials. Means connected successfully. So whenever I run this Node.js application, what actually happening? We have already installed MySQL, so it is there in Node modules. From Node modules, we are importing it. Then we are connecting it by giving the credentials like where is the database, what is the username of the database, what is the password of the database, what is the port, what is the database, and all these things. Now see here, if you install MAMP, this is the advantage you get it. You will get all the details, the port number, the username, the password, all these details you will get it. Install MAMP. If you install XAMPP, you don't get that. You have to research what is the default port, what is the default username, what is the default password of database. You have to research it. In MAMP, you will get it. This is the advantage. That's why I told you to install MAMP. So what we have done, we have created the database, we have created the Node.js, we have installed MySQL, and by passing the credentials, we have connected it. Now, after connecting it, I wanted to get data. How do I get data? Now, if you go through their documentation, see connection dot query, and you write SQL queries. And callback function. Now, what I will do, I will create a function. Say get the data from DB. I'm creating a function. And here what I will do, if I wanted to connect to database and get the data, I have to use the connection dot query. This connection is actually something we stored the reference of the database connection. Understanding? So now what I will say connection dot query, not query. Now first we have to give the query. We can write the query here. I'll say select from users. Then this gives us some result, right? Some records. So that I can handle it in callback function. And this callback function, it actually expects, now see, first is the query we are giving, and in callback function, go to the documentation. This is the query we are giving, the next is the callback function. First is error if there is any, second is result, the actual response from the database. Fields you can ignore it actually. Now I'll say, first is error, if there is any, then results. Then here what I will do, I'll write if error is there, that means what? Something is wrong with query. If there is any error comes. If no error, that means I'll simply print results. What the database is setting. Now all these things is inside get data from DB function. Now this will be executed or we have to call it? We have to call it. And when I will call this, I will call this once connection to the database is success. Once the connection to the database is success, then I will call it. So basically, whenever I run the application, we have already installed MySQL. So we are importing what we have installed. Then we are creating the connection. Then connecting to the database. Then if it is successful, we are executing the query. And if it is error, we are saying something is wrong. Otherwise, we are giving the results. Now, if I run it, we should get a huge amount of data. How much? 1000 records we should get. Now, I'll say npm start. Unable to see it? You got it or not? It is showing around 100 records. And it says 900 more items. It is not showing all the 1000. Some limit will be there, right? So we are able to create database, we are able to connect it to database, we are able to get from database. Now I have to send this to client. I have to send this to client. That also will be working. Understanding what I am doing? Okay. Now we are getting the data, we are displaying it in console, but what I want to send this to client. To send this to client, we should be, our application should be able to receive the request and send the response. How do we get that ability? How can I receive the request and send the response in NodeJS? How do I do that? Express we have to install. HTTP, yes. Full version of HTTP is Express. Now we have created a NodeJS application. It has the ability to connect to database only, but it doesn't have the ability to receive the request and send the response. Receive the request and send the response. Now I wanted to do that. Then only from client I can send the request. So now I don't have Express. So what I will do, I'll say npm install Express. So I can make this as middleware. I am coming from reverse. First database, then middleware, then client. Okay, Express is installed. Then what I will do here, I'll say let Express equal to require Express. This gives us a function. I'm calling that function which gives us an object I am storing that object with the name app, and this app should listen to port 2233. Anything you can. And I am creating a callback function here saying console log concerning port 2233. Then I wanted to create a get request. This one can be done or not? App.get and say slash get the users. Then say comma callback function request response, and here what I will do, I'll say response.json. I'm just sending some dummy data. I simply say please wait, I am going to send some message I am sending. Now we made this earlier. Our NodeJS application has the ability to connect to database only. Now our NodeJS application has the ability to connect to database and made this as a middleware. Now from client I wanted to connect to this API endpoint. First of all, I don't have any React.js project, Node client project. Now I wanted to create it. Now that is a very big time activity, creating the React.js project, but we do smart work. How? Already created projects are there. New projects. Just drag it here. Done. So client. So basically, what happened? We have created the database part. We have created the middleware part. Now I'm coming to this area. Okay. Then I will open this client, and if I want, I can change in package.json the name of the project. Client. If I want, I can change it. If you don't change also, that's fine. So now I'm coming to React.js, app.js, and I will delete all the unwanted stuff. Understanding what I'm doing? Unwanted stuff. Now I wanted to create a button. Say get users. On click of the button, we have done all these things earlier. Remember? I wanted to call a function. Let get users from server. See? Then what I'll say, let JSON data is equal to await fetch. What is the URL? http :/localhost 2233 / get users. The API endpoint URL. Then I have to tell this is a get request. I'll say let request option equal to method. Okay. Now request options I am already clear. Now this means while sending the request, we are passing information that this is get request. Middleware understands that is get request. Okay, JSO data. Then I'll say let JSO data await JSON data dot JSON. Then I'll say simply console log JSO data. On dummy string only we are passing it, not actual database content. Now I will call this on click of the button. Now basically we are connecting from client to middleware. This connection part we are doing. Okay. Now let me run this. We are into integration. Now I'll create one more terminal. We'll go to CD. right? Right. Then npm. Now we are running the React.js application. Once React.js application is running, I'll click on the button. Then it connects to API endpoint. API endpoint is sending some simple string only. This is like pieces. Database, how to create it, we have worked. How to create middleware, we have worked. How to work on React.js, we have worked. Now we are working on all the three. Linking. Understanding what we are doing step by step. We are working. First database setup, then middleware setup, then connecting between database to middleware, then client setup, connecting between client to middleware, then middleware to database. Now, inspect console. Then click on get users. What is it saying? Connection not used. If it is cars, it will say cars error, but there is something wrong. App.js. Our middleware is not running. The middleware application is not running. Say npm. NodeJS application is running. Middleware.js application is not running. Okay, this is also listening to code. Okay. Now I will send the. Now we should get a called error called cars. Now middleware is running. We are getting cars error. So now if I want cars again, what I have to do? I have to stop it. Say npm install cars. Once it is installed, then go to server, import it, let the cars. Well, then I'll say cars is actually sends one extra line in the response. Cars adds one extra line in the response. The browser accepts. Otherwise, browser won't accept. The app dot use. I am running the middleware again. Now I should not get cars issue also. Please wait. I am going to send from. That means whatever the response we are sending from the middleware is coming. But actually, I wanted to send the server database data. So here, what actually we are sending? We are sending. Please wait. I am going to send. So I don't want it to send this. So what I will do, I'll say connection dot query. I want connecting to database. I to select from users. Then I am creating a callback function. Error, comma, results. Here, if error is there by any reason, it's a response.json. I am sending the error object directly to the client, so we can see what is the problem. Otherwise, I am sending response.json and send results. What we are getting from the database. Understanding? Whatever we have written here, whatever I have written here, the same I have written in get. Now I don't need this. Understanding? See, from client I'll click this button. Whenever I click this, what is actually happening? On click, it is calling this function. In this function, what we are doing, we are saying the request is method, get method, and we are passing it to get users. We are specifying that middleware, that API endpoint is in the same system, 2233, get users. So it comes to the server, get users, it will come. Then here we are connecting to database using connection.query. We are saying select star from users, all users, and if there is any error in it, we are sending the error to the user client. Otherwise, sending the results to the user. Now, if I click on it, I am getting the same thing probably. So, I have to run it. Restart. Does it changes? I have to restart it. Right? Now, I get users. Got it. Where are we getting it from? You may see a simple button, but so much is in it. Button connecting to middleware, middleware connecting to database, database to middleware, middleware. Understanding? Okay. Now I am getting the data. Now I wanted to populate this. I wanted to populate this. So what I will do, we have worked on use state. Remember? So in app.js, I will create the use state import here from here. Here I say let user data set user data equal to I am giving use state empty array. Then once I get to the data, I am assigning that to set user data and say JSO data. And then now from these things, I wanted to populate it here. User data dot map. I am creating an arrow function and simply say return h2 I something I am just giving it. Now depending upon the array element, that many times this executes it. Now if I click on get users, 1000 we are getting it. But I don't want it to display high, I want it to display first name, last name, and all those things. So now I have to read the object structure. And so this array has 1000. It has ID, we don't need it. First name we need it, last name we need it. Profile pic, profile pic is coming, yes, profile pic. So now what I will do, I'll simply say I'll create user as the first name and last name, user dot name, then user dot Now I'll be getting their actual names. Now, you're actually getting their actual names. But not only names, we are getting picture also. I wanted to display a picture. So what I'll do, I will put it in a div. Inside this div, I wanted to add img src. Then I'll say user dot profile. Then I'll just put in this. Now I should get the name, first name, last name along with pictures. Are you able to see? From where I am getting this. Now this is fine, but I want it to beautify it better. I can put it a border, display flex, side by side. That anyway you already know. Understanding what I'm doing? Complicated. So first database setup. Now I am, if I add insert into 5 or 10 users, we cannot get full. So that's why I have added some dummy data. 1000 records we have added. Now we are getting new data. Understanding what I'm saying? Okay, now we are saying get users. All the 1000 users we are getting. Now what I want in this database, I want certain people from training department. Can I get that? You just write query only. Now what I will do, I can modify the existing, or I can create a new API endpoint. I'll say app dot get dash users from training department. I'll say response. I'm getting another API endpoint. I'll say connection dot query. What should be the query? Select from users where department equal to, I'm giving single quotes for training. I cannot use double quotes instead of double quotes, or I can use backticks also. Now the query is ready. Then callback error if there is any results. Then I'll say if there is any error, I'll say response.json. I'm sending the error object directly to the user. Otherwise, I'll say response.json. I have to send now 2 API endpoints I have created. Now this I will use it. I'm coming to app.js. I'm creating one more button. Users from training. Then I have to solve this. Now, let users from training. I think copy paste it also, but I want you to see it. So I'll say let the JSON data equal to await h cdp colon double slash local host and double slash users from training. Then request options we haven't created. So I'll say let request options okay. Then say let the JSO data is equal to await JSON data dot conversion. Then I'll say set the user data and giving it JSO data. And I'll also print it in console. So now let us see. You have to call the customers. I am users from client department and on click I am calling it. Then I will come here and refreshing it. Users from training department. Now I'll say inspect. We don't know how many are there. Let's say users from training department. We are getting error 404 not found. Users from training. Probably API endpoint. Users from training. Probably I have to restart it. So okay. How many are there? 67 people from training department are there. These errors are images are not available. Dummy data. We have created the database. We have created the middleware client connection between client to middleware database. Everything is done. To do this, it took almost 3 months for us. It's not like yesterday we have started. Today we have achieved it. To do this, if I cover this on day 1 of the course, what happens? You don't understand. Now it took almost 3 months time to come to this level. You have worked on forms, you have worked on JavaScript, you have worked on HTML, CSS, navigation, server communication, NodeJS, database, SQL. So many things you have done it, that's why you are able. Now the remaining thing is beautification. See, any movie you take, any movie, hero, heroine, villain, these 3 main characters. Any application you take, client, database, middleware, communication between these things, that's it. Any application you take, you send the request to the server, get the data from the server, display it. Interacting with database. You can work, it's up to you. It depends. If the size of the application is too big, one person takes lots of time to work on all the 3. Then they will hire 20 people. 5 people on database, 5 people on middleware, 5 people on client. But everyone has the ability to work on all. See, if you go to any ICICI bank, every day you go, a new cashier will be displayed. You don't find the same cashier every day. ICICI Bank is designed in such a way that any employee can do any work. Domino's Pizza, you go, they are also the same thing. The person who cleans, the person who takes order, the person who prepares food, everyone can do everything. It's like that. Got a point. If Dheeraj knows everything, yes, only Dheeraj can do, but he takes 3 years time to work on it because application is big. So if I hire 3 people, no need of 3 years, 1 year only. If I hire 6 people, 6 months only. If I hire 12 people, 3 months only. Then I hire 12 people, 3 months I can finish the project. But all the 12 can work on any area. That is the advantage. Only client-side developers doesn't understand what is happening in between. They'll click the button, they'll expect, okay, something should come. That's it. Internally, what is happening, they don't. Understanding? But you know how to send the request, from client. How to receive the request from middleware, How to connect to database, you have to just each and everything. Pulse is also the same thing, connecting to the server, getting the data and populating, creating, retrieving, updating, and deleting. But in Pulse, client is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, database is MySQL, middleware is PHP. We haven't used React also. The reason is then React was not that popular. They have just released it. It was not proven yet. So if React is a failure, then the project will be in a risk. So we haven't implemented React. Then. What about? See, Kia cars was introduced in India, but many days people didn't buy Kia because they wanted to check it. What others, how people are using, or even COVID vaccine also. Many people initially hesitated to take it. After that, once it is proven, people has taken. Understanding? Now what you can do, whatever I have done, you can say. But I want from different departments, like from training department, from different departments. So many departments are there. Now I wanted to identify how many departments are there. How do I do that? Select the distinct department from users. Total 12 departments are there. We have worked on distinct. Total 12 departments are there. Business development, accounting, support, engineering, sales, human resources, product management, training, services, research and development. Now I want you to create 12 API endpoints, 12 buttons. If I click on the research and development button, that user should show. That user should show. You can populate it in a beautiful table also. I'm just populating like that. You can create a table. You can create a TR. You can show it in a table. Understanding? Can be done or not? That I wanted to. To implement these things, I have added this dummy data. Now I can do country-wise. I can get country-wise also. I want all the employee users from Russia, all the users from Indonesia. Can I do that? Now I want all the users from Russia from training department. Can I do that? Queries issue. Understanding? If you are smart, you can create You can get this and populate it in a drop down also. In a drop down, select options. In map, you give options. That's it. Understand? But anyway, that will be trying it step by step. Our today's focus is on just connectivity, basic stuff. I'm expecting 12 buttons from you for 12 departments. If I click on any of the button, that details, that the user details should show in a table. Nice table. We have worked on Bootstrap, right? Bootstrap also has a nice table. You can use it, right? React Bootstrap. I am going components. Here I will just look for where is it, the tables? Components only. This kind of table you can populate it. Light mode, dark mode. Little spicy is there, but by this stage you should be able to do that. Now, from today onwards, you are a full stack developer. From today onwards, but entry level full stack developer, you need to work a bit more to become strong full stack developer. Got it? Anything here now, database you can work, middleware you can work, client you can work. Now we have 15 videos on React Native. If you go through those 15 videos, you already know React Native 80%. Because you have worked on React, right? React Native you know already 80%. If you go through those 15 videos, you can work on iPhone, you can work on Android, you can work on web, middleware, database, nothing else beyond this. You don't know the value of your subject. Many people knows anyone, either web or iOS or Android or database or middleware. Many people, but you know mobile and web, database, everything you know. If you want, you can create your own iOS application, your own Android application, your own web application, database, everything. Of course, it's too much work. Still can be done. If you have a thought, okay, if I create this application, something like Flipkart, for example, yes, you can. Flipkart works for web, Flipkart works for iPhone, Flipkart works for Android. It has database, it has middleware, and Flipkart is developed using React. For web, React.js, for mobile, React Native. Instagram, yes, React.js, React Native. Facebook, WhatsApp, yes, everything is same. Got it? But initially, you go step by step. Okay, you can create Pulse. What Pulse needs? Pulse has sign up form, login form, task creation form, task submission form. You can create whole Pulse. You can create. If possible, try to create it. You can learn a lot. Theory is theory only. Task is task only. Project is project. You learn a lot from the project. You try to implement it. Whenever you get time, try to work on that. Okay. Understood? In our next session, we will try to simplify this a bit more. For now, understanding the overall, all the three types. Most of you already know what is three tier when you are working in your when you are studying in your PT. Have you heard of it? Three tier architecture? But that is just theory only. Now this is full practical. DBConnectivity using NodeJS and one important thing, while submitting your task, you don't include node underscore modules from both. I want you to include your database also. I want you to include your database. How do we include your database? Uh, you know, there is that page gone now. Click on the start, that page will be open. I'll go to tools. Now imagine this is the database you wanted to send me. The database you wanted to send me, you are able to see export here. You click on this export. Now click is there, you just say go. That's it. Are able to see database file is generated in SQL format. You add this SQL file. You add this SQL file in the zip file. Got your point? So what I will do, once you send me the project, I have to install Node.js packages, React.js packages. I have to import the database. I have to change the ports, username and password if there is any variation. Then I have to run my MySQL using map, Node.js using npm start, React.js using npm start. Setup itself will take a lot of time. Okay. Understood how to send the database? Let me take